So I am going to turn it over to Brett, let him do any further introduction he wants to do, and then we'll get going. So Brett, take it away, my friend.
Sounds good. How you doing, party people? Brett Allen here, rocking with you on December 3rd, 2 o'clock Mountain. We're just going to be hitting a few tech walls. I'm just kidding, guys. I'm sorry. I always wanted to be a radio DJ. I'll just I'll mellow it down a little bit. But just today we're going to be going over some tech wall specification as well as some general tech questions that you may have and some background information on our hardware that DIRTT provides as well. So without further ado, let's move along here. So a little background information on how we actually mount these TVs and our hardware inside the walls. When it comes to mounting the TVs themselves, we use two different types of mounting hardware. So the first is hardware 201, which uses smaller feet, and these work with TVs up to 1.6 inches in depth. And the thing with hardware 201 is because they're so thin and the feet are smaller, it allows you to place a horizontal anywhere on the opposite side, the B side of the wall. Now, when we're dealing with thicker TVs, we can definitely still accommodate them, typically in a 4-inch wall, up to a depth of 2.6 inches. So the only restriction is when we bump up to 2.6 inches in depth, it restricts our ability to actually place a horizontal for that span of the panel. If you see this right side image here, we can't actually have any horizontals located in this space where the TV is located. And why is that? Well, you can see right here where the little feet are that the brackets mount on, they span across both horizontals. So as soon as we put a horizontal and move it up here in this area, it's going to be interfering with our mounting bracket. So just something to consider when you are specifying hardware 262 and deeper TVs. We can also accommodate TVs that are, say, up to 3.5 inches or so on. But obviously, guys, you know, we have physical constraints here. We can't fit a 3.5-inch TV, well, anything over 3.75 inches in a 4-inch wall, just because of the actual addition of a 1/4-inch tile and 3.75-inch depth and our mounting hardware. So just keep that in mind. We typically need a curtain wall application to accomplish that. And obviously, when it comes to technology inside walls, you know, one of the main things we have to focus on is dissipating the heat out of that cavity. It's probably one of the most damaging things next to water for any sort of electronics. So we actually supply two types of fan kits right here. One of them mounts on the top horizontals. It's hardware 184. It's called a thin fan kit. This takes all the heat inside that cavity and dissipates it out of the top, whether it's into the plenum or if it's cornice rail, just into open air. And these cavities, the cavities that typically house the TVs and electronics, don't have insulation in there. The STC value is minimized a little bit, but it's nothing substantial. But obviously we can't have any sort of insulation in there, as it will constrict the amount of heat that can dissipate. There is another fan kit that we use when we're specifying a Mimeo Teach or E-beam interactive solution, and this one is called a snorkel fan, and it's hardware 208. So what this thing does is it actually, you can see it mounted on the lower horizontal right here where my mouse cursor is. It dissipates the heat in front of the display, in between the glass and the display. Why does it do that? Well, these devices, the Mimeo Teach and E-beam, use infrared technology for the input signal. So if you think like an infrared camera, well, when you have electronics inside a wall and this heat builds up, it affects the signal that that pen gives off. So what it does is kind of sweeps the air up and out of the way, and you get much better reception and no interference from heat inside the wall cavity. When it comes to 70, 80, 90-inch mounting brackets and hardware, this requires a little bit more structural hardware for mounting the TVs. Obviously, these are big TVs, first off. Some of them weigh over 100 pounds. And also, we have a large span. These are typically oversized frames, and there's a little bit of deflection. So what these brackets end up doing is adding a little bit more structure inside that frame to give it a little bit more rigidity. The hardware 275 that you see here is a recommended piece of hardware for TVs that are over 100 pounds, which is typically any TV that is over 70 inches. So 70s typically hover about 80 pounds. 80s and above are typically over 100 pounds. Please specify this guy too, because this will actually transfer the load from above and down into the lower column. And this is an adjustable bracket right there. And obviously we have hardware 202 as well, which actually spans in between the two horizontals on the side A and side B of the wall. And what this does is it actually creates like a miniature column. So when we have these spec'd, and depending on how big your frame is, how many there are, but there's typically, what it does is it creates kind of a column. So you take the two sides of the horizontals, and then this guy spans on either side. And like I say, it creates this, it's kind of like a hollow beam, and again, offers a lot more structural integrity to our oversized frames. IR repeaters is another common question that comes up every now and again. To put it in simple terms, what this thing does, and you know, you don't really, I'll recommend right now that you don't spec a tech wall without it, because when you put your TV in a wall and your different components inside the wall, you need to control them somehow. So what this does is it has little beads, and you can see on this diagram here, these beads, and you can see the actual physical parts up top, they go on the infrared receiver of your components. They make their way into this little IR repeater box, and then what that does is it all comes together in one little eye. So what happens is it comes out here, and this eye acts as a receiver for every single one of these components. So you can actually control 8 different components with one eye, and this eye is typically mounted on the face of the wall or also on the top of a cornice wall or something like that. So usually somewhere that's inconspicuous and, you know, keeps a nice concealed look. And then this way you also have full control of all of your components inside the wall. If you guys forget anything, or you need kind of a sort of a reference for what hardware do I need for, or what accessories should I use, we have just a little reference document here too, which is visual, so people that don't like reading, pay attention. This is just nice, simple reference tool. You know, for a standard panel, which is typically frames under 4 feet, you can fit a TV up to 48 inches in there. And that's the rule of thumb when it comes to TV sizes. Big common question too is, how big of a TV can I fit in a 60-inch frame? Well, frankly, the answer is quite simple. The rule of thumb is a 60-inch TV will fit into a 60-inch wide frame. Now, how does that make sense? Well, the measurement of the TV screen size is diagonal. So typically a 60-inch TV will be about 50 or so inches wide. So that is the rule of thumb. It leaves a little bit of buffer room for the thickness of the bezel and so on. So for a 4-foot frame, it would fit a 48-inch TV in there. For a 60-inch, that's kind of the max size that you could go. So that is the rule of thumb. And getting back to this little reference document right here, we have things for, you know, standard panel, 4 feet and under. You can fit up to a 48-inch panel, or 48-inch TV. And here's your hardware, what you're looking for, and also accessories that you may want as well. Oversized panel, same idea, just 48 inches or more frame sizes. And when we get into 70, 80, 90-inch TVs, here's what you're looking at. So once we get into oversized panels over 4 feet, this does require PD to clear it for deflection. And that's why you see underneath these titles here, it says PD deflection approval needed. What that means is you just need to send this into info, send your ICE file into info, and PD is going to quickly take a scan at your ICE file and just clear and make sure that this glass size doesn't exceed our limitations that we have, and it doesn't actually deflect too much to a point where it might break and be dangerous. So, tech wall specifying. Before, this used to be a painful process. It was hardly an ICE. So let's see if I can remember how this works exactly. How it worked is you would actually go into your style editor, select your tile, set it to a custom tile, make a catalog note for this tile, say inspect your window size in just the description for the tile. You'd make your way down. This is your visual you get in ICE. Then you would make custom notes, product add note for hardware fan kits, for brackets, and then you have to send that to info, and info prices that for you, and it comes back, well, don't worry, this is This is a much more streamlined system. We've made this a lot easier over the last few months here. So how have we done that? Well, we have a demo of it, and if you want to follow along, I'll be going through these steps right here. To find info on that, you just go to, it would be our DIRTT integrated technology page. If you want, just hit My DIRTT right here. We're on My DIRTT now, and you can find it in the Products tab and Integrated Technology. And it's just Media Wall, Order Guide updated. And so you guys know, just a little heads up, insider information, we are working on making this process even simpler. So right now we do have this order guide, which is several pages long. Well, this was one of the first things we tackled as a tech team, and now we're coming back about 6 or 7 months later now and reviewing it and going, we can make this simpler, we can make this simpler. So right now we are working on a new media wall order guide. Here's a little peek of what we're looking at, where you can see DIRTT Tech. This is the second draft. It's still being produced right now, but you can see it's very simple. We have progress, so you can see where you're at in your specifying process. Also has window sizes. How it's going to work is we'll have order doc for 4 feet and under frames, oversized frames, and 70, 80, 90 inch. So all the info that you need will be condensed into one document. So just like this, here's what you're looking at for the new one, and I'm hoping to have it by the end of the year here, sometime in December. It's just going through the cycle of getting clearance from PD and other departments, making sure they got the A-OK. But again, we're working on making this simpler. We just want to minimize the questions before they reach us and make everybody's process a lot more efficient. But let's go back, and like I say, we're going to be reviewing what we are looking at just in that PowerPoint there, how to specify media wall and ice. And I'm going to walk you through the process of how we typically do this. So we have ice open right now. And the first step in ice, we're going to select a solid wall style from the product tree. So on our left side here, I've already have my walls section open. I'm going to select solid walls, and I'm going to select one of our styles right here. I'm going to right click to edit the style, and then now we're in the style editor. So select the tile that will house the monitor, go into the finishes editor, and change the finish to back painted glass. So first off, even before I do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give myself a little bit of room here for my TV to fit in. So I'm actually going to move this horizontal right here. I'm just going to actually hit properties too, so I can be a little bit more specific. I'm going to select my horizontal, and I'm going to spec it at 2 feet at AFF here. And my top one, let's just go 6 feet and make it nice and simple. So now we have a little bit of room for a TV in this tile right here. So going back to the instructions, select the tile that will house the monitor and go into the finishes editor and change it to back painted glass. So I'm now selected the tile that I'm going to have house the monitor. I'm going to change the finish of it to a frameless back painted glass tile. Now I have different colors here for our purposes, make it a little bit clearer and distinct. Let's go with Shake It. So Shake It, the green color, obviously nothing fancy there. It can be any color you want. Now this process that we're going over right now is for our standard finishes. If it's custom, it will still need to be priced through info, just for your information. So now we've selected our back painted glass tile. Now what we're going to do is we're going to up to the top here and select Insert. Sorry, once you have the tile selected, hit Insert, and you'll see the window option right here. Select the window option. So automatically, it'll just place a default size window right there. So this window is, I think it's 46 inches default, but if we want to get a little bit more details on it and get into the nitty-gritty about its location, I just right-click on the window itself, select Properties, and you can actually see I have a bunch of options here. First off, I can change the image of the window. It can be a forecast if I really want. Or if I wanted something, let's say, a little more creative, I can go into here. Maybe, let's go Super Tech Wall. I don't know. You can select whatever, you can upload whatever photo you may desire to be on this screen. If we're talking about client-specific tech walls, maybe it's not a bad idea to put a client logo on there. So for our use right now, I'll just leave it as a default screen. Maybe let's go with an ice screen. Next, this is the active window size. Don't get this confused with your physical dimension of your TV. This is the spot of the screen that we want exposed. So we can adjust this. Like I say, I believe it's 46 out the gate right now, but maybe we want to adjust it to something that is, I don't know, maybe a 40-inch TV. Well, it can be tricky sometimes to track down what the window sizes are. So what I'd suggest right now, no, I don't want to change my color scheme. Gosh, my performance is great. So to get the actual window size, you'll actually find a handy document right here. It's Media Wall Previously Used TVs. So this handy doc not only provides a list of previously used TVs that work well within DIRTT walls, but at the bottom you'll actually find it has a active screen size clear opening back painted glass legend. So you can find your specific screen size, and this will be the same for any TV manufacturer. Just because the 1080 by 1920 resolution, which is an HD TV, that resolution needs a specific screen size. So this screen size will always remain constant. So what we're going to do is we can see 40-inch 19 by 6 by 34.9. So now I'm going to go into here and I'm going to go 19.6 and 34.9, and you'll see it in ICE right here, and I'll pull up my file there. So now look at that. Now I have a 40-inch screen size in my screen. 40-inch active window in my tile here. Sorry for the flub up there. Anyway, so we jump on back here to properties. We can also make a few more other adjustments. So if I want, I can locate my 40-inch screen. Now I'm going to spec it, let's go 6 inches from the top of the tile here. Another thing to keep into consideration here, guys, is that, if I don't see how I can blow this up a little bit, we can't put a window like we just showed there. This is a common mistake that happens from time to time. Don't even think about speccing a window from the top at 0 inches. Don't even think about speccing it at 2 inches. This won't work. The reason why this doesn't work is this horizontal that you see, the horizontal break right there, it actually comes down 3 inches below. So the very minimum we can spec a window is about 4 inches. The guide says to do 5, I think it says 6 right now, I'm revising it to 5, but 6 inches is a safe clearance from the top of the tile at any time. From the bottom, it's a little bit less. I think it's 2 inches that this horizontal comes up. But please be cognizant of that, because we can't have a TV interfere with the horizontal right there. So minimum 5 inches from the top or bottom of a tile. Well, I guess it can be 3 from the bottom, but you get what I'm saying. And of course we have a little bit of the same problem on the sides of our frames as well. This is just constraints, obviously, of the physical nature of a TV and a frame. So this frame, these verticals, span out 1 inch. So we at least need to make this about 2 inches to make sure that we leave enough room for the thickness of the TV bezel as well. So you can see we spec this all here. But you know what? I really don't like the way this looks, so I'm going to go center and center it. Now we're back centered again. Another thing that you can also do is you can actually, if we wanted to, I'm going to select this tile again. And I'm going to go Insert, Window, and I'm actually going to insert another window. I'm going to hit Properties on that, and I'm going to change it into 6 inches. Let's go height. No, let's go 3 inches, and let's go 6 inches. I'm going to spec this like we were just going over before. I'm going to spec from the top and from the right, and we'll make it 6 inches and 6 inches from the right too as well. And what I'm going to do is go Custom Images, choose my image, and I'm going to select Clock. Yeah, that looks good to me. And look at that. So this is not just a tool, this Windows in ICE isn't just a tool for tech walls, but it's actually a tool for any window. So I encourage you guys to be creative. This is a creative tool. This is ICE. So, you know, this can be for a TV. This can also be for a clock as well. Maybe, you know what, maybe you want to put artwork inside the wall. Well, you can definitely put a window and have the things showcased inside the wall. Just know that obviously right now we have hardware designed for TVs, and we can kind of apply that same hardware for clocks as well. but you will maybe on your own or contact PD if you're looking to mount other things, say a picture or something like that. It doesn't always have to be complicated, but just keep that in mind. So now we've spec'd a standard frame. It's a 4-foot frame. This doesn't need any clearance. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to finish up here. So I've now followed all the steps here. We've now have a window appeared on the tile. We've added the height, width, and positioning on the tile. And we've also made sure that we've placed it 6 inches away from the top or bottom of the tile. Now we're going to click OK. It's going to prompt us to save it. Changes to our style. We'll select yes. And just edit the style and call it media wall or whatever your little heart desires. It's up to you. So now we have saved this as a style, and I can begin to draw away here if I really like. So let's go 4 foot. And so now I'll fly into ice here, and lickety-split, take a peek at that. We have our very own media wall with a clock, with a 40-inch display. Ain't that something? So this is all done within ice. Very nice, simple process. And again, for 4-foot frames, we're just missing one step. We've spec'd our windows. Now, how are we going to mount it? Well, let's go over the stuff that we just talked about at the beginning of this webinar. We can spec our mounting brackets and our fan kit. So right here in catalog, you can select catalog, media wall hardware, and you'll see a drop down here of all your necessary hardware. So in this case, we have hardware 184. We want to add one of those. Perfect. And we will also add, maybe this is a thicker TV. Let's specify hardware 262. So now my hardware is added into my ICE file, and I have a tech wall ready to go out the door. Coming in the home stretch right now, just use the same process. I know, sorry, we're getting a little late. I didn't realize how short I was on time. I like to talk a fair bit, and I should really shut my mouth and save time for questions. No, I'm just kidding.
You're doing good.
Coming down the stretch, to do this, obviously, with an oversized frame, what we want to do is change this default module width to maybe something like 6 feet. And you can see, obviously, we have, if I drew another wall here, solid walls, media wall, and let's go 6 feet. So now we have 2 media walls here. So this is actually interesting if we wanted to have, actually, I'll delete this wall right here. So we actually have two frames right here. If I really wanted to make this into one oversized frame right here, or sorry, one oversized panel, just select the 2, obviously, and merge this. Now, one problem that you will see here is we cannot have, be cognizant of this too, guys, please don't place your window where vertical is, right in the middle. This needs to be placed in between 2 frames. Can't have a vertical up the middle. It's just a physical constraint. We can't control it. So in this case, what we'd probably do is we just locate that window over to the right. So I could go properties, and let's go from the left side, sorry. And we'll go 4 inches or something like that, 6 inches from the right side here. And now we have it spaced here. We have a merge tile. Make sure that clock moves too. And then we're good to go. Now sometimes I notice people have had issues with a merge tile glitch. So what will happen is they'll have 2 different wall styles in ICE, and what will happen is they actually have a different wall style here and a different wall style on the other side, and they go to merge the tiles and their window disappears. Well, what happens is it's actually based on the order of how you drew your walls. So to find information on that, if you find that's a issue you've ran into, just hit help, ICE help, and just search Windows actually. And it's actually one of the first, number 4 right here, merging tiles with Windows. You can see here's a great help topic that explains why this is happening. So you can see again, it's in the order of when you drew your media wall, and you can see how to get around it. So again, just search window in the ICE help there, and you'll be able to get around it. So coming into the last 5 minutes right here, I'll open it up to Matt. If we have any questions from the audience, feel free to open up the floor.
Yeah, none came into our chat window here. I'm thinking it's because of the comprehensive treatment that you gave it, Brett. But does anybody have any questions? You can feel free to type them into the chat window, or you can just come on through the phone and ask yourself if you'd like to.
Or if you have any home theater problems right now, feel free to ask that as well.
Because Brett's happy to field them all. We need you to start like a Dirt and Ice podcast or something with those DJ skills that you have. So.
Matt, I might need a co-host actually if you're interested. So it's not a one-man show. Someone
to monitor the chat window. I can do that.
Yes, that's right. The call-in line, the text line too.
All right. Well, are there any questions that anyone has for Brett while we've got him on the phone right here in front of us? Looks like there aren't. So if you do have any questions, if you think of any after we're done, feel free to email us info@dirt.net, and we'll be sure to get the answer for you. Tara says very clear and precise. I was thinking the same thing, Tara, so thank you. And then have a look at My Dirt here in about an hour or so, everybody. We are going to be posting this recording. We've got, Brett, if we could just show them real quick. Go on up to productivity on My Dirt there at the top. And then learning, and then recorded webinars. Yep. So it's just a matter of me posting it there, so it'll show up under that Dirt column that Brett's currently at over on the left. You'll see that recording there, so you can refer back to this anytime and hear Brett's DJ voice sweeping you through working with tech walls. So thanks, everybody, and have a good rest of the day.
That's
Thanks,
right.
Brett.
And guys, if you do have any other questions too, of course, when it comes to technology, tech@dirt is always a good resource to email anything. But yeah, thanks again, Matt.
Yep. Have a good one, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.